Come with me on a 3-day journey through Jordan where I show you where I went, how much it cost, and how I got there. Okay, after I booked my flight, I went to the Jordan site and bought me a Jordan pass. I bought the Jordan Explorer for 75 JOD, which was about 106 USD. I could have just bought the first one since I didn't have enough time to actually go back to Petra twice. Once I landed, I went to the visa on arrival counter and got my visa, which was included with my Jordan pass. Please note that you must stay 2 nights in Jordan to get your visa fee waived. I bought a 35 gigabyte SIMs card from Zain Mobile for about $45, rented a car from Dollar for about $107. There was about a quarter tank of gas, so I filled it up for about $48. All right, guys, it is midnight and I am in Jordan. I just got my rental, just got some gas, and I'm hitting the road. I have a 2.5-hour drive to the Petra area where my hotel is at. Yeah, so I should arrive around 2:30 a.m. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, but I was super nervous. Not to drive, but because it was so dark. I had my high beams on the majority of the drive. I was hitting bumps, braking often, going around curves, going downhill. Lord, I was so scared. Okay, it is 2:21 and I have made it. I stayed at the Petra Cannon Hotel. It was a 4-star hotel. It was about $70 a night, which included dinner and breakfast. But since I arrived so late, I didn't get a chance to have dinner, but I did have breakfast in the morning. They had plenty of options and an egg bar, so you can get any eggs your way. After breakfast, I hopped in a car and I drove about 5 to 7 minutes down the road to Petra. There was free parking at the Petra Visitor Center, and then when I got there, taxis were like, hey, I can take you to the back gate to the monastery. It'd be easier for you. So I drove 20 minutes and paid about $14. Then when I got there, they're like, oh, no, you still have 2 hours walk, so we can take you halfway there for about $7. So I got in the truck, got there, walked about an hour and a half, made it to the monastery, walked up to get a better view of the monastery. Beautiful. And then I walked about an hour and a half more to get to the treasury. Then I drove back to the hotel to get my things. All right, I just left Petra, got my things from the hotel. Now I am headed to Wadi Rum. It's about an hour and a half drive from the Petra area. It was a pretty smooth ride from the Petra area to Wadi Rum. Here's me doing the absolute most, getting content. I didn't tell y'all, but my feet were hurting so bad. So make sure you have the proper shoes when you're walking through Petra. I arrived to Wadi Rum. The people from the Bubble Tent camping site met me up front. We drove about 15-20 minutes. Then we stopped. I parked my car. I got out. I got in the truck with them. And we rode about another 10 minutes to the camping site. It was super dark and quiet. I felt like I was the only one there. They walked me to the room. It was super spacious. I could control the heat in the room because it's a little chilly outside. Then they walked me to the dining hall. Please note that you cannot get cell phone reception in your room. You can only get it in the dining hall and in the fire pit area. The food was really good. I paid about 17 USD. Then I woke up at 6 a.m. to do the 6:30 a.m. sunrise Jeep tour. It was about 58 USD. Then we drove out by the mountains so we could see the sunrise. I set up my tripod. He put down his jacket for me to sit down on. Then he gave me some tea. He was super sweet, super nice, very good tour guide. Then we drove to this castle area and he was like, hey, do you want to go underground? I'm like, no, the last time my people were underground, yeah, y'all knew what happened. So I just took a video from the outside because Here was me randomly running. Then he took me to his friend's shop to get some souvenirs. We had some tea. We talked a little bit. It was a super cute shop. And then the best part of the tour is he let me drive his stick shift. I've never driven a stick shift, but he was teaching me as I was going. He was doing all types of stuff, hanging out the window to get the content for me. I'm like, boy, you know what? You all right with me. You all right with me. Then I came back to the campsite and I had breakfast. Then I packed up my things and they drove me back to where my car was at. But my dog was playing that heat. So I was like, hold on, let's jam out real quick. I got me a few snacks for the road, and then I started my 4-hour journey to the Dead Sea area. Yes, you heard me correctly. A 4-hour drive from Wadi Rum to the Dead Sea area because it's going back up north. And I did everything in my power to make this a fun trip because it was tough. I saw some views here and there, some mountains, some dirt, more dirt, mountains, not many cars. And I was like, man, let me put on some Beyonce. Beyonce gonna keep me up 4 hours. After about 2 hours, I'm rethinking my life like, man, I probably should have just booked me a driver because it's too much. But please know that as I was driving the 4 hours, I was stopped about 3 or 4 times by police. And one, I think it was like customs, and they actually had me open my trunk. The police just asked me where I was going and where I'm from. Then they just waved me to go. No lies, y'all, but this was the only light that I saw when I was driving through Jordan. Then I came up on the Dead Sea and got those views from the car. And I'm like, I need to get a little bit closer before I get to my hotel. And I did. I got out, recorded myself like always, getting that content. And I recorded the views of the Dead Sea. And if you can see along the shore area, it's super white because all of that salt. I wish I would have had more time to go down, but I did hear that it is super painful to walk on because the salt is so sharp it can cut you. I've heard a lot of great things about Salt Beach, and it was somewhere nearby, so you can add that to your itinerary whenever you visit Jordan. Fun fact, the Dead Sea borders the two countries of Jordan and Israel. At around 2 p.m., I arrived at my hotel, the Hilton Dead Sea. It's about $86 a night. And as I'm driving around, I'm like, hold up, this property kind of fire. It had a lot of amenities. And I'm like, dang, I should have booked my flight for a later departure. My flight was departing at 4 a.m., so I was literally only there for 12 hours. I spent most of the day at the Dead Sea. The room is nice and cozy, and they upgraded me to a sea view, which I really enjoy. So I was able to see the Dead Sea from my room. Like I said, it's a huge property. I think they had about 3 or 4 restaurants. What I did like was that one of their pool areas was adults only. So I'm like, yeah, sign me up for that. But again, I didn't have enough time to really enjoy this hotel and everything that it had to offer. So I know if I ever come back, I will be at this hotel for at least 3 days. I had to take a few elevators down, lots of stairs going down. As you can see, it's a little trek to get from your room down to the Dead Sea area. But once I made it, I was like, okay, this is cute, this is cute. The Hilton has their own private area of the Dead Sea, and I believe if you're not staying at the hotel, you can get a day pass for about $35 to $40. And here I am putting on the Dead Sea mud, which is good for eczema and other skin problems. The water was a little chilly, but once you were in for a little bit, it warmed up some. And then here we are, floating. It's so salty that it is impossible to sink. Listen, the food was amazing. The salmon and the mussels, chef's kiss. Then I took a 4-hour nap and started my 1-hour journey back to the airport and to return my car. I will have to say, if I could do anything over, I would stay in Jordan for a few extra days so I can experience a little bit more. If you enjoyed this video, follow your girl on YouTube.